Hello and welcome to this year's virtual open day. Thank you so much for coming along to check out what we have going on here at Te Piringa Faculty of Law for Waikato University. Now, I assume that if you're looking at this video, you're considering studying law. And one of the things that we find often with our prospective students who are looking at law is that they know that they can go to a number of institutions in New Zealand, do a Bachelor of Laws, and get qualified to be a lawyer, and that a lot of those core components are going to be the same. Everyone is going to study crimes. Everyone is going to get the basics of legal method. So the question is, why study law at Waikato? So what I'm going to try and do for you in this session here is start out by looking at some of the things that are unique to our faculty, and then drill down into the specifics of our program and our degrees, some of that more crunchy, practical kind of knowledge that is useful as well. So why study law at Waikato? So Te Piringa Faculty of Law was founded on three core principles: biculturalism, law in context, and professionalism. And all three of these work together to create the unique experience of studying law here at Waikato and work to shape our graduates in really specific ways. And you'll see that reoccurring as key themes as we move forwards through this presentation. In terms of what our academics do, the kind of unique and specialized knowledge that they're bringing to the table, our faculty has expertise in environmental law, Māori and Indigenous governance, public law and policy, and cyber law and the law of new technologies. So we're on the cutting edge of really pressing concerns, whether that be indigeneity, climate issues, new technologies that are emerging. The law impacts every facet of life, and these urgent, pressing ones are areas where we excel. One of the really interesting things about our faculty as well is that once you're in, you're in. Other institutions in New Zealand will take a class of first-year law students but have a GPA restriction on who can proceed into the rest of the qualification. We don't have that. And the reason that we don't have that is that we as an institution, we believe in investing in you. Our goal here is to teach, to educate, to help you grow, not to cut out people who, for whatever reason the institution feels, don't meet the cut. We were the first LLB, or Bachelor of Laws, in New Zealand committed to teaching tikanga Māori. We were the first LLB in New Zealand to make corporate entities and dispute resolution compulsory subjects in order to ensure work-ready graduates. So this is here where we can return to those founding principles of biculturalism, law in context, and professionalism. Literally within the classes that we teach, the way that our degree is structured, we put our principles into practice. Tikanga Māori is a core part of all of our core teaching across the degree. It is such a relevant and lived facet of life in New Zealand. How could we possibly teach law without it? And similarly, corporate entities and dispute resolution, those are bundled into our bachelor's program not as options for students to choose, but as compulsory aspects, because professionalism matters. This is a qualification designed to get you ready to be out in the workforce as a lawyer. You need to be prepared to engage with business. You need to be prepared to resolve disputes. We also have the most flexible approach to the study of law in New Zealand. There are a number of pathways in and through our degree, and I'll return to that a little bit later in this presentation for some more details. So, what to know about our Bachelor of Laws, or LLB? It's a 4-year degree, and it has 3 components, which I'll unpack in a second. As noted, this is a professional qualification, so the emphasis here is on skills. You'll see key papers in here, such as legal method or dispute resolution. These are really focused on building the skills that you will need to go out and be a lawyer. As I said, the degree is 4 years but has 3 components, and we can split those out really usefully to examine the role that they play in your comprehensive legal education. So we've got them here. Up here in the top left in yellow, we have the compulsory law papers. So most of these are subjects that are set by the New Zealand Council of Legal Education, the accrediting body. These are the things that qualify you to be a lawyer regardless of where you go in the country, if you choose to study law, you will do public law and contracts and torts and crimes and land law and equity in some fashion. The specific paper breakdown might differ between institution, but the need to pass exams in that subject will remain. Over on the side here, we see what we call our non-law electives. So it's in here that you could choose to take subjects either out of interest or things to support law, or you could even look at taking a second major in a different subject that you really wanted to drill into. We see a lot of our students taking secondary subjects or secondary majors in areas like business, accounting, psychology, and political science. Really looking to diversify their own individual approach to what it means to practice law. And finally, we have what we call our law electives. So in your fourth year, your final year of the Bachelor of Laws, you will choose from a range of available topics to sort of specialize in areas for your career. You might probably take some core things like legal ethics that everyone sort of needs to take to be a lawyer, but then you can drill down and focus on what is of interest to you. Here is where you can engage with your environmental law or Pacific Peoples law, these sorts of subjects. But what is it like to study an LLB? And specifically, what is it like to study an LLB at Waikato? One of the things to note is that this is, especially if you're shopping around other subjects here in your virtual open day, studying a Bachelor of Laws is a little different to other degrees at Waikato. We still have some year-long papers instead of ones that just sit in the single trimester. There's just a few in the first 3 years that work that way. And those core subjects that everyone's required to take often have large end-of-year exams, which again is perhaps less common in other areas of the university. And the reason for this is that you may have heard in popular culture elsewhere this idea of like sitting the bar exam to become a lawyer. So in New Zealand, we don't have a bar exam. Instead, the bar exam is broken up into all of the smaller exams that you take in these specific required subjects. So these things make you a lawyer. One of the things that we like to emphasize about studying with us here at Te Piringa is that we have a really strong student community. Because of the compulsory and staged nature of the qualification, everyone is taking the same papers together. And so even though we have quite a relatively large cohort size, people get to know each other. And because people know each other, they can support each other and they can kind of grow together. We also have 5 student associations who run their own events in terms of support for study and also professional engagements with members of law firms from around the country, and they also run key competitions. We have our general Waikato University Law Students Association, we have our Women in Law Association, Te Whakahiapo, our Māori Law Students Association, our Pacific Law Students Association, and brand new as of this year, our Asian Law Students Association. And I highlight that the last one is brand new because what I'd like to emphasize for you here is that our students are active and proactive and are seeking ways to build that student community to make sure that your voices are heard and recognized and supported. But what if you don't want to be a lawyer? Or what if you don't know if you want to be a lawyer? Well, we've got an option for you as well. So we have a Bachelor of Arts major in law. So rather than the direct full 4-year Bachelor of Laws program, we have this major under the Bachelor of Arts, and this offers the opportunity to get a strong background in law and legal principles, as well as easily pair study with another discipline. Maybe you know right from the start that you don't actually want to go and practice law, but you want to go and work in local government, or you want to go be a policy writer down in Wellington, and you think, oh, I actually don't need that full 4 years of study and all of those very specific topics. What I really need is a grounding in law, and maybe I want to do a second major in political science or public policy or social policy. The BA is a really great option there. To put it a different way, this also keeps your options open, because the first year papers that you take under the Bachelor of Arts in Law are exactly the same as the papers in the Bachelor of Laws first year, which means that you can credit those papers over, and in fact passing the first year of the BA in Law guarantees entry into year 2 of the LLB. So if you're not sure, you want to test the waters, this is also a great first step, start out in the BA in law. Take that first year of papers, see how it works for you. You might fall in love with the practice of law and want to pursue it, or maybe you figure, no, I am exactly where I want to be and I'm going to carry on with my BA. What if you live in Tauranga? Really great question. We are proud to offer legal study via the Tauranga campus. So we currently offer a diploma in law, which those of you who are astute and will have looked closely at the LLB structure will notice that the papers under it are the same as the first couple of years of the Bachelor of Laws. So we offer it via the Tauranga campus, which is a wonderful, beautiful place. It contains the first and second year papers of the LLB. And completing it guarantees entry into the third year of the LLB. So this, like that first year of the BA in law, offers a pathway into full legal study. Students who choose to study via the Tauranga campus are provided access to lecture recordings of the Hamilton lectures and attend in-person tutorials for their papers at the Tauranga campus with our excellent Tauranga senior tutors. So this is where I want to return to what I was saying about the fact that our law program is the most flexible in New Zealand. There are so many pathways that you can take to engage with the study of law, and you retain the ability to be fluid and flexible with those choices through a large portion of your study. So as just noted, you can commence in the diploma in law. Maybe you are currently working full-time and you think that picking up this qualification just part-time and chipping away at those first few papers is a good option for you. As I noted, it guarantees you entrance into the LLB when you pass those papers, so you can flow through in that way. Obviously, you could also just start directly in the LLB if you meet the entry requirements and know the path that you want to take. As we established before, you could commence in the BA in law and you could finish in the BA in law, or pass those first papers and realize that you definitely want to be a lawyer and credit over into the LLB. If you stay in the BA in law, which is the 3-year program, you are then eligible for entry into our Masters in Legal Studies. So in the same amount of time as just the LLB, you could do your 3-year BA in law and then carry on to complete a master's degree, which, it is worth noting, is actually open to anyone with a bachelor's degree in any subject. With the LLB itself, every year our top students are invited by invitation to enroll in the LLB Honours, and this is a really valuable accreditation. Achieving a level of honours in your legal study can open doors for you in the profession. It can be a really strong way of standing out as a highly achieving and highly competent practitioner. But even if you didn't gain your honours accreditation through the invitation into LLB Honours, you could proceed onwards into our Master of Laws or our Master of Laws in Māori and Pacific and Indigenous Peoples Law. To return to our idea that our law program is the most flexible in New Zealand, the one thing that this diagram does not show is that there's actually another line that connects the LLB back to the BA in law, in that much as you could start in the BA in law to see whether fully practicing in law is the path that you want to take, vice versa is also true. If you start in the Bachelor of Laws and get 2 years in and realize, actually, I don't think this is for me, I don't feel comfortable and it's a bit daunting to commit to another 2 full years of study, you can credit out of the Bachelor of Laws over into our BA in law and complete that 3-year program instead. This map here shows where our Te Piringa graduates are operating in the world right now. And what I hope you take from this is the breadth of where our graduates have gone. I think it would be very easy to think that in a context of a New Zealand university, and specifically a New Zealand university that specialises in such topics as Māori and Indigenous governance, that perhaps we're offering an education that is incredibly local and inwardly directed. And what I'd like to show you with this image here is that this is not the case. Our graduates are highly professional and highly ready to engage with the practice of law or the topic of law globally. Our graduates have gone on to be judges, clerks to Supreme Court justices, recipients of scholarships to read for the prestigious Master of Laws at Cambridge, members of law reform commissions in New Zealand and the Pacific Islands, district court and Māori land court judges, MPs and city councillors, partners in firms, founders of their own firms. The emphasis that we have placed on our three founding goals of biculturalism, law in context, and multi-governance prepares our graduates for professional life in New Zealand and abroad. Again, we teach law in context, and what we mean by that is that we don't just teach how law works or the mechanisms of it, what we call black letter law. We teach it in the context of the world. We teach it in the context of society. We engage with the role that it plays, the purpose that it is for, the things that it can do, the significance and the ethics of it. And those skills are eminently transferable. Thank you so much for listening to this talk about what's going on here at Te Piringa Faculty of Law here at Waikato University. I hope that you're enjoying your virtual open day experience. Some key dates here for you up on the screen, which I'm sure you've seen if you've watched a few of these presentations by now. If we've in any way piqued your interest, we would absolutely love to have you. Applications to study are open. You just head to our website, waikato.ac.nz, and click the big red Apply to Study button. Thank you so much.